Hello, hello, it's Leah Simone with Intuitively Simone. Welcome back to our channel, a sacred space that is yours, mine, and the divine. We are going to be doing a pick a card reading today, and we're going to be looking at what is the root of your shadow, your most prominent shadow. So, whatever is your most prominent shadow aspect that's kind of governing your choices and how you go about moving during your day. We're going to take a look at what that is and then the root connected to that. And so we can kind of unearth this rotted root and make a more fertile, like soil, more fertile ground. So we'll also take a look at what you can do to help, like, destroy any illusions surrounding this root. I also want to mention that I'm recording this on a Friday evening, so you will likely hear a lot of background noise. If it gets too loud, I'll pause it. But you'll probably hear a lot of like traffic, background noise, so just try to disregard that if you can. All right, so we have 3 piles. I have group 1. I also have a card that's already picked. That's a song. So this is your song. This is Fly Away by Tones and I hope this is in frame. Okay. And then for group 2, the song that you have is Ordinary People by John Legend. I almost just said John Lennon. So that's fascinating because I know that that's John Legend, and I'm like seeing John Lennon in my face, or in my third eye right now. John Lennon's face and hair. So, okay, group 3, you have Silky. And the song that you have is You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore. All right. So these are the piles. I will put up a picture for you to take a moment to see which of these you feel most drawn to, which of the cards that you feel most drawn to, and then I will meet you at your reading. Hi, group 1. So I wanted to come back and record an intro to your pile, to your reading, because when I was going through the editing and listening to the playback, especially with your pile and the intro, I am dealing with fighting through like autistic selective mutism today. So that's a part of the reason why the video was recorded so late. And I'm telling you this because it's very pronounced in the intro and in your reading specifically. So you'll hear that in like the choppiness of how I sound, and there's a lot of ums and a lot of pauses and stuff like that. It's kind of like if you've ever had a car, or where there's like issues with the starter and you're trying to crank it and you kind of have to pump the gas or whatever, and it takes a minute for it to catch on and get going. That's sort of like how it is, where my brain is trying to process and the words are like delayed in coming out, and sometimes they cannot come out at all. Okay, so the reason why I'm explaining that is because one, when I was listening back, because of how that translates, the way the messaging came through, I think was a little bit unclear, and there was some vocabulary that I was using that I wanted to just clarify. But also, this happened. It's it's the most noticeable. It's much more noticeable in the intro and your pile specifically. And I'm not sure if that's significant or not, but I'm gonna, in the comments, I'm going to, or maybe in the description box somewhere, I'm gonna link a video that I've come across that I feel like explains autistic mutism pretty well. And so maybe that will illuminate something for you. I'm not sure. It just seems important for your pile. Okay. The other thing is that when I was going through your reading, I was talking about like your friend group, but the word that I should have been using is like your social group. So this could be your friend group, or it could be just like various relationships, maybe in a work setting, or like family members, or anybody that you connect to and relate to regularly. So yeah, I was saying that, and then I'm sorry, I'm really struggling, you guys. This was supposed to be a clarifying intro, but I'm not sure that it's really helpful or not. So I'm just gonna leave it here because I honestly, I don't know if this is helpful, but okay, I just wanted to explain that. So yeah, okay, on to your reading. All right, group 1. So the way that your energy is coming through is very like leader type energy. Take charge. It's coming through masculine in the sense that you are action oriented. I'm getting like you may be in your friend group, the leader of your friend group, or the leader of some community, maybe of your family, but you are like the head of some sort, right? Okay, so we're taking a look at what your shadow is and then what's the root of your shadow. So your shadow that you have here is the Fool, which is using humor to wound rather than liberate. And this is denial of your emotional truth. So the way that your energy is being depicted is this very masculine, and not only masculine, but just societal, the way that society depicts male or man, like the male image. You don't have to be a male, but how your energy is being depicted is that it's that trope of, men don't cry, men don't show emotion, right? So the song that you have here is Standing on the Line I Was Given. People stare and ask why I'm here. No one seems to think that I fit in, but I don't want to be like them. No, I don't want to be like them. So the thing that's standing out to me right now in this song is people stare and ask why I'm here. I'm getting that you are like an introverted extrovert. You much prefer your own company, but for status or for the sake of being accepted, for the sake of being the leader of this friend group, you go out and you socialize and you do things and you enjoy yourself, but there's always an element within you that you feel like you don't quite fit in, and you kind of have to like mask. I heard masquerade, and you may do this by using humor. For one, using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. So what I was getting is that like in social settings, you may be one that copes by using substance like alcohol, or maybe like an energy drink or a coffee, or some sort of additional substance to kind of be like an inhibitor, so that you don't feel so defensive. Because when you are in your defensiveness, and when I say defensive, I'm talking about the defensive of your emotional truth. Because the way that this shadow self expresses itself is you have here over emotional and aggressive. These are your two cards for how your shadow is expressing itself. But the thing about it is the base of this you have is intelligent. So I feel like there's an element within you where of your friend group, you may have an intelligence about you. This may be an emotional intelligence or just like a legit intellectual capacity that your friend group is not able to manage. And so what I'm getting from that is like your friends might talk about mundane things like, the girl or the guy that they're seeing, and what's going on with this celebrity, or what's the gossip on this, or did you see on this social media page, or did you know so-and-so from in high school was doing this thing. It's just not very progressive type conversations. And so I'm looking at this card, and like, this is you being depicted here in this middle. And if you look at this guy's face, he just looks so like, why do I have to be here? Everybody else seems to be in the group, like intentionally posing. Do you know what I'm saying? Intentionally, like they're, how do I describe this? Like they are, and not that you're not, it's not that you don't, you do it. But the way that this is coming through, the way that your energy is coming through is like, I look at you and I can see, I heard same, but different. Like, I can see how you can relate to your friend group. You know, there's a lot of similarities. They're all men. They're all black. They're all bald. They all have, is this the same person over and over? Actually, it is. I think. So, okay, that's the other thing, is that it's like a separation of identity. That's what was coming through with this intellect, is like, it's a separation of identity where you recognize, not even in a cocky way, where you are set apart from your friend group because you have a way of just a second, you guys. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is that I was saying intellect, and yes, that's intelligent and it's coming out. But the way that I'm trying to explain it, the way that it's coming through, is that there's like this awareness that you have where in your friend group, it's like jab for jab. And sometimes these jabs, it's like there's this awareness that you recognize that sometimes these jabs that come from your friend group directed towards you, it's like you sense that there is an undercurrent of jealousy, or like a power dynamic. Like they sense your awareness. They sense your power, your ability to like you're a very dynamic person, is how it's coming through. I'm seeing someone that has a multitude of skills and talents, whereas in this friend group it may be kind of limited. And even if they do have ideas, I just heard like high ideas. So maybe you guys smoke and you get high, and maybe, you know, they have ideas. But even if your friend group does have ideas, they don't necessarily do put anything into action to carry this idea forward, or they might stop, but there's not really very much follow through. And whereas you have the ideas and you will push it forward, and sometimes that means seeing it through to the end, but you're coming through in a leadership quality. So it's coming off that you initiate and then delegate, which is a good sign of a leader. Leaders tend to do that. They initiate, they get it started, they set the foundation, they make sure that it's secure, running, and then they start to delegate and kind of create like a self-running mechanism that they can just oversee, right? So I'm getting that you do that. Like, you might start this business here, and then this goes, and then once it gets steady, like you'll start this business, and then you can kind of manage each going in between, right? There's an air of, if I can be honest, jealousy from your friend group about this dynamic that you have. And instead of your friend group saying, I'm jealous, because then that would bring like negative attention on them. And it's again coming through as masculine energy. So it's that like, oh, don't be in your feelings type of energy that they're trying, that your friend, that's being avoided by honestly everybody. And the way that that's being avoided is that your friend groups are not, your friends in your group are not saying, this can be, I'm getting honestly males and females, whoever's around you has a jealousy that they're not speaking on, and instead they're using it. Like, they'll say something, and then if you respond to it and acknowledge, like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what did you just say to me? Type of energy. That's how I'm hearing it. If you were to respond like that, then they're like, oh, I'm just joking. Lighten up. Can't you take da-da-da? Don't be a P is what I just heard. We're going to say punani for the beautiful Hawaiian flower. But you get what I'm saying. Like, that's the type of language that you may receive. Or, you know, get out of your emotions, or man up, toughen up, that type of thing. And then in that kind of makes you question yourself. But it's, so the song that you have is, again, I want to say, standing on the line I was given, people stare and ask why I'm here. Okay, so it's like, and then no one seems to think that I fit in, but I don't want to be like them. So it's like you recognize that in your friend group, they deny their emotional truth. Yes, exactly. Denial of your emotional truth. And they are doing that, they're expressing it in this way. But because this is your friend group, these are people that I'm getting, you've been around for a long time, you recognize that this is a thing that you've come to do. You are a part of this group. So while you are, again, it's same but different. So while you are you're different, you're your own person, you are the same, you are in this group. And I'm hearing birds of a feather flock together. So you are or were a part of this group think dynamic where you guys all just kind of, like herd mentality. Did you get what I'm saying? And so that has developed into your shadow and the way that it expresses itself because you deny your emotional truth in situations. And what I'm getting, I just heard imbibe. So what I'm getting is that this may express itself more freely when maybe you're drinking and you're less inhibited, and it may come out as aggressive or over emotional in whatever sense. Maybe like very angry, or I'm also getting like maybe that you may feel more comfortable expressing your loving nature, like if it's, in like your relationship or whatever the situation is. But this alcohol is what allows you to kind of release your inhibitions and connect with your true emotional self. So it's an unhealthy coping mechanism, right? So at the bottom of your deck, you have Three of Swords in reverse. And what I'm getting for that is like for relating to give the overall energy of the root of this is that it's like there's this feeling of constant like heartbreak or self-betrayal, because it's like no one seems to think that I fit in, but I don't want to be like them. But then you also have people stare and ask why I'm here. So it's like I don't want to be like them and I don't fit in, but I continue. I'm here. Like you know what I'm saying? That's how the energy is coming through. That's how your energy is coming through. Like you continue to show up. So that's this underlying. It's like I just heard. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Like that's how you are thinking about this situation. Like it's a loss if I leave this friend group because I've invested so much time. This is a friend group, whatever. I would have to start all over, that kind of thing. But it's a loss if I stay here because I see this undercut, this jab, this energy towards me of jealousy and how people are trying to keep me small. And they're not really true friends. They're not really supportive. They don't really want to see me grow, because to grow would mean that you would be outgrowing them. Do you get what I'm saying? So that is the root of that. So what can you do about that? How can you, I want to say like rectify this issue at its root? All right. You have the Ten of Swords, the Four of Wands, the King of Cups, the King of Pentacles in reverse, the Ten of Cups. Okay, so that's like, it's like a story, and basically it ends with like choosing yourself. And by choosing yourself, you're choosing your soul desire, like what matters to you. It's moving out of this, I just heard sheeple mentality, which is like herd mentality. Basically, sheeple are people that operate like sheeps, where they all just kind of move wherever they're being told to move, or whatever. Actually, so if you think about it, like sheeps they move in directions based on if something's coming at them, they get scared, so they run away from it. So it's kind of like that, like you're moving in fear, because you know what I'm saying, like you're moving in this way in order to avoid whatever's coming at you from this direction because you're afraid of it. This is not just you, this is the group. It's like we're not going to, this is coming across as a group that doesn't really like get outside of their comfort zone, or they find comfort in the similarity in the group, because in there they don't have to change. In there they can continue to remain stagnant and not do the work. In there they can continue to judge other people, because I'm hearing misery loves company. It's that mentality. And I want to be clear, like, this is a common thing in a lot of friend groups and dynamics. So what you're experiencing, honestly, it sounds like an awakening of sorts, of your own personal journey, right? The difficulty that I have found with that is that it is legitimately our own journey. So just because we have these epiphanies and we have this awakening and we have this enlightenment and we start to see things a little clearer, like we start to see energy. If we don't understand energy, then we might see things in people's interactions at face value. So we might start to question ourselves if someone says like, "Oh my God, I was just joking. Stop taking things so seriously." We might be like, "Dang, am I, am I the problem?" It's not, because now you see energy and it's like, yeah, your words are saying that, but I'm no fool. You know what I mean? Like, your words are saying that, but your energy is saying that you're trying to undercut me and use humor to wound. And so when we have that enlightenment, everybody doesn't have that with us. Some people don't ever get to that point in their lives, and that's okay. But what I'm explaining is that it's a difficult thing. I can understand why you have the Three of Swords in reverse as the bottom of your energy, is why this is a difficult thing to kind of unearth, because it's like you have this new path option to choose, but it's new to you, and you don't have anyone else around you that you, like in your friend group, that you can ask about, because clearly they haven't had this awakening yet. They're still in the same patterning, and that's cool. That's their own journey. So I'm not saying that to judge your friend groups or belittle them or anything like that. I'm saying this is very common, especially in the spiritual community. When you have this type of enlightenment, it doesn't happen for everybody at the same rate. It doesn't happen for everybody in general, but your vibration is increasing. So you're going to start to align with people that's on the same energetic level as you, where when you move out of this shadow element, you're not going to attract these type of people in this shadow anymore. So now you'll attract the light. You'll attract people. It says fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. Exactly that. Where things that once, instead of being surrounded by people that are jealous or whatever, have some sort of emotion that they're not expressing, some sort of shortcoming, you'll be able to recognize that they're projecting. It's their own insecurity of whatever they're not able to address that they're projecting onto you. And then when you speak up about it, they're saying that you're the problem. You're not attracting those people. You're attracting the people that can actually be accountable for their own emotions and say, if you were to acknowledge something to them, they would be able to in truth say like, yeah, I did say that. I am judging, or I was offended, or whatever, and then you guys can have the conversation. And if you're like, oh, no, I think you misunderstood, blah, 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 whatever, you'll have more experiences where, you guys can laugh at the absurdity and the hypocrisy. And for hypocrisy, that's also coming through, because I feel like there's something that's coming for you where you're going to recognize how hypocrisy is inevitable, especially in the spiritual journey, because hypocrisy is basically us learning our shadows and then making the transition to try to heal that and transmute that into light. So we're never one thing all the time, right? So if I say, I am a happy person, for example, I'm never happy all the time. And then you also have to, it's also beneficial to recognize that we have very limited exchanges with people, even the people that we see and talk to often, even the people that we live with in our house. You know what I'm saying? Because at certain points of the day, you guys are separated. Even if it's just you're going to the bathroom, or someone's going to work and the other's going to school, or someone's going to a friend's house or whatever. So you don't get to see everybody at every point of the day. So if I say I'm happy, and yes, you might see happiness on YouTube or whatever, when you're not seeing me 100% of the time. So it would be hypocritical for me to say like, no, I'm such a happy person, like, and label myself as that only. This is another reason, and you may come into this realization as well, but this is another reason why I personally don't really love to subscribe to labels or identifying myself in that way. I'm very careful about that, because I understand that I am always changing. So yes, right now I might be aggressive, and then the next day I might be super calm. I had a full on meltdown crying session earlier today, like distraught, you know what I mean? And then here I am doing this. But if I didn't say that, would you have been able to tell? Do you know what I'm saying? So there's going to be more acceptance of self and others because, again, you're going to be able to, move into this light attribute and laugh at the absurdity of life. Like, how crazy is life? Literally, when you think about it, like, how crazy is life? That we grow up and we're taught to be this thing only for us to get to a certain point and recognize that we need to crack that shell and let that go completely because we are not at all that. And that was what was told to us to be. Again, the herd mentality, the sheeple mentality. That's the essence of the spiritual journey. Basically is self-actualization, realizing who you are truly on a soul core level, and then turning that into actuality, into factuality, into reality. Self-realization. Do you get what I'm saying? Instead of allowing society to apply labels to us like, oh, you're a man, you don't cry, or oh, you're a woman, you're so emotional, or whatever the situation is, you're like, I can be emotional and I cannot cry. Like, why does it have to be one or the other? You know what I'm saying? Like that. You're going to start to move into that. So, okay, how do you do that? Well, again, to go back to this is, I'm going to break down these others, but the sum of this is to lean more into your heart. Honestly, like, follow your heart. What are your heart's truest desires? Regardless of what society, like what people around you are saying, even if you're afraid to go after this thing because your friends are going to make fun of this thing or make fun of you for going after this thing or whatever, and then try to downplay it and make you feel like you're in the wrong. Those are not your people. Because if it's coming from your heart, that should be supported, especially if it's not impacting their life. If it's impacting their life in the way that maybe you guys are separating and you're growing apart, that's for them to deal with, because that means that one is growing and the other is stagnant. You know what I mean? So either way, like I'm going to say that they're stagnant and you're growing because you're going after your heart's desires, where they're talking you out of it, which lets you know that's a lower vibrational energy, and you are elevating. Your frequency is increasing, right? Okay, so what else can you do about this? Get out of your mind. And that I mean, like, get out of your friend group. Because your friend group is what's keeping you from, you have 10 of swords in reverse. So it's like you're supposed to be closing out of a cycle. You're supposed to be moving on from this overthinking and self-blame and guilt. You should be moving out of that, but it's more difficult for you, or it has been more difficult, or it will continue to be difficult to get out of that. This all just depends on where you are in your journey. As long as you stay around these people, right? Okay, so it's essentially, it's like, get away from these people so that you can get out of this overthinking energy, because they are giving you information that you are internalizing and taking it as truth. You know what I mean? Like, you're denying your own emotional truth for the sake of this group who can't even recognize their own emotional truth. They're masking. The other thing that you can do is I just heard celebrate life, but do more celebratory activities, things that really make you happy. I'm seeing, a couple things. I'm seeing like a graduation. I also saw a cookout, like in my third eye. I'm seeing a beach tent. I'm seeing like a stadium. Maybe you're into like stadium sports. I'm seeing a stadium of something, and I want to say, is it like a graduation or something, like celebrate life events? Do you have someone that's graduating around or something? Or maybe, this is also coming through, like, celebrate the graduation of your own soul's path. Do you know what I mean? Like, your soul you have graduated in this soul journey. On these soul lessons, you have learned this, and now you're graduated. So allow your soul to elevate, to graduate by, again, moving away, making the tough decision, and moving away from these things. What else can you do? King of Cups, embrace your emotions, because your shadow attribute is denial of your emotional truth, and then you have the King of Cups, who has he has, I just heard, no holds barred when it comes to his emotions. He's not overly emotional; it's in control. If it was in reverse, it would be overly emotional, but it's allowing his self to express it so that it doesn't become like a pressure cooker where it's just shoved in there, shoved in there, shoved in there, shoved in there, shoved in there. Now there's no room, and you're trying to like put your body weight on it to close it, but there's so much pressure that it just pops open, and then that comes out as being over emotional or over aggressive. And the other thing that I'm getting is that you can sometimes, when this is in reverse, like if you continue to remain in the shadow attribute, the way that this King of Cups would express itself through this like over emotion is like a clingy or codependent or neediness. So if you find yourself feeling that way, you may still be in your shadow attributes. Again, I want to emphasize that I am a person that loves the gray area. I recognize why black and white is important and it's necessary, and I have an appreciation for that. So I allow things that fall in the category of white to be white, things that fall in the category to be gray. But I absolutely am thrilled to find situations that are gray area. Why? Because to say that, again, it goes back to the whole label concept, to say that like, oh no, this person falls in the category of white. And I'm not talking about skin color. I'm just saying like, it's black or white, that whole comparison, that whole analogy. If something falls in the category of being absolutely white or absolutely black, it's like there's no room for any difference, any growth, any change, where gray is a mixture of both. Both can exist. It's fluid. You can be, you can be a little bit needy and clingy sometimes, and or you can, hold on, let me back up. My guides are telling me to back up. And so so with the black and white, hold on. I'm getting like yin and yang. Hold on. Oh, yes. It's the balance of the masculine and feminine energy. Right, yeah, black and white. So exactly that. The King of Cups is very balanced. He's not ashamed to express his emotion, but he is, how can I describe this King of Cups person? He's not afraid to express his emotion. He doesn't feel shame for it. Whether that's passion or anger, he's not shaming himself or guilting himself for feeling angry, because there's a regular expression of it. It's healthy. You know what I mean? It doesn't come out as an explosion, and it's not like nothing, then boom, everything. It's a regular release, so it's healthy. So when it is released, it's moments at a time. And it may be powerful and intense, but we allow it to flow, and then that's it. We don't have to make a whole thing of it. It is what it is. We've released that. We've let that go. Now we feel lighter in our energy, so we can move on. And do you get what I'm saying? That's a natural, healthy way to process our emotions. If it still bothers you, some people, you can journal about it, have a conversation, however it is, but definitely allow yourself to release it. So that's what you can do there. The other thing that you have here is King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so I actually want to get a card to clarify that, because I can't quite tell. I feel like it's like, sorry, just a moment to flip over. Knight of Swords in reverse. There's like heavy pondering energy. Okay, this is like a push-pull between like taking, I just heard taking your sweet ass time and like hurry up and doing something. So, okay. What? Okay, hold on. And then you have the High Priestess in reverse. This is confused ass energy. I just heard do something. Okay, here's what I say. I heard get off your rear end. Like, okay, I feel like there's something that there's an action you want to take. But okay, hold on. There's an action you want to take, but it's coming through that you're like, don't quite know how to put this in words. Because in one depiction, it's like your energy is so methodical and like, I want to say patient to a flaw. It's almost like you're making excuses to not take action, but you're like, it's like, no, I have this plan. I feel like you're like using a plan as a crutch to not take action, where, yeah, because you have your high priestess in reverse, where it's like your intuition is telling you to act, but you're ignoring that and relying on this plan. Okay, and I'm hearing now like divine plan is greater than our own plan. But I feel like you're like running away from, like you're using this plan as an excuse to run away from taking action, and it's like, I want to say with the quickness, but I don't know if that makes sense. Like you're using this as an excuse with the quickness. Does that make sense? Like the second you have the opportunity. So, okay, you might build yourself up to, or like convince yourself, talk yourself into whatever. You might have a moment where you feel ready to take action towards something because your intuition is telling you to. And then, I don't know, it's like the you're in your mind, and then like you think like, oh no, but this plan, and like without hesitation, you're quick to say, nope, the plan. Like, nope. You know what I mean? Like you're so quick to rely on this kind of as a crutch to not take action. I'm getting it had like it's like it's coming through kind of like as an excuse, to be honest with you. Like I don't have something. You're making an excuse that you don't have something in order to take action towards whatever this 10 of Cups is. God, that was very long-winded. That was, I really struggled to get that out. But like, yeah, that's what's here is like you're waiting on something. The Star in reverse. There's this feeling that you feel, it's like that you're not good enough, or that you don't have enough of something, or that you're not done like healing. There's this feeling of like, before I can move towards this thing has to be complete. And if it's like coming across as like healing, you know what I mean? Like this situation, or I have to be completely healed. We are never completely healed. Literally. I don't mean we in the spiritual community, or I just mean in general in life. We are never completely healed. Why? Because life continues to happen. So there's going to continue to be re-traumatization, which might flare up triggers, new experiences that might create, new wounds or whatever. Life continues to happen. And as we continue to interact with life, it's like it's like a baby. It's like a baby phase. You know how I don't know if you have babies or if you have any experience with babies, but especially when babies are little, like in their first 3, 4, 5 years of life, especially those first 2 years, when you say there's a difference between 6 months and 12 months, or 12 months and 18 months, or 12 months and 15 months. There's a difference. And the reason why I'm explaining that is because it's like babies, where you like think you're like, okay, I mastered this phase. I taught my baby how to, I don't know, like walk, right? And you're like, yes, now that they can walk, this is going to be so much easier. But then there's this new phase where now that they can walk, they are asserting their own independence, and now they want to go here and do this, and they're learning no. They're learning how to say no. So now you're like, oh God, I thought I was going to have a break. That's how your energy is coming through. Like you're waiting for like a break, or like like a completion of something to be like whole or healed or something like that. I think you know what it is I'm talking about. I don't know that I'm getting the details specifically. Of course not. This is a general reading, but it's that type of energy where it's like you're waiting for this it's almost like you're waiting for this metaphorical baby to be 18, or maybe for some of you guys literally, I don't know, but it's like you're waiting for someone to be, this metaphorical baby to be 18 before you make this move, because then you don't have to care, but that's not going after this 10 of cups. That's the self-betrayal. You're putting yourself on the background. Why can't both exist? Like, why can't you go after what you want and continue to take care of this metaphorical baby? Like, why do you have to, do you understand what I'm saying? I just heard, where there's a will, there's a way. And you are definitely coming through as a person that will, like, it's like you have a will, your own will. You know what I mean? And it's like kind of assertive. Like, your energy is kind of coming through like you feel like your will and your plan is better than the divine plan. Probably because the divine plan is unknown and you're not comfortable in that. Which would totally make sense as to why you feel like you need to wait for this baby to be 18. Because then it's like in your mind, you're like, okay, then I know when this baby is 18, they're technically adult and they have to care for themselves. But if you think about even that analogy, like, our children never are not our children. You know what I mean? Even when we are old and gray and our children are adults, they're never not our children. So at any point in life, it's a new phase for them. So when they turn 30 for the first time, whatever comes of that life crisis or whatever happens, that's their first time experiencing that. We've already gone through that as their parents. So who do you think that they're going to ask? Probably their parents, especially if you guys have a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. So it's almost this unrealistic approach. Like, I have this plan that when all these ducks line up, but it's like, that's not a good example. It's like, I have this plan that when this thing ends, then I can move forward. But it's like, this thing that you're waiting to end doesn't end. So take that example, how that applies, but that's how your energy is coming through. And so you got to move out of that mindset. I just heard, seize the day. The time to act is now. Because like you can balance, you can manage these things. They can okay, hold on. Like, you can manage whatever it is. It's like, there's a way to manage it. I'm hearing somebody with concerns like, well, what about, let me just say this. If it's like I don't know why I like domestic violence. If it's a situation that's like puts you or somebody else in danger, or, you know, it's just not safe or healthy or whatever, like, you know your situation. So by all means, like, trust your own intuition. But if it's just a matter of, I can't have this thing until this because of, I don't know, whatever societal has expectation, or because of whatever fear that you have, it's like, that's not true. For some of you guys, I'm really getting the parenting thing that's coming through, where it's coming through like, I'm gonna wait until my child is like out of high school, or has yeah, it's like literally that, before I start dating, or before I, you know, it's literally, that's what's coming through. And it's like, you what are you teaching your child? You know what I mean? That you can't resolve conflict, that you can't transition from one phase of life to the other, that you have to sacrifice yourself for the sake of what? Because who are you dating? Are you dating someone that's going to put your child in danger? Because, you know what I'm saying? If not, then, do you get what I mean? Is the other parent like aggressive? That's really what's standing out. Because if so, then like, that doesn't sound healthy. Maybe we should, like, I feel like it might be a good idea to, don't let me tell you how to live, but it just feels like if that's the case, it seems the priority would be to get the child away from that aggressive parent, especially if it's an unsafe environment, so unsafe to the fact that you feel like, you know, you're not able to engage in your own life, in your own relationships, in your own happiness, for the sake of the safety of this child. And I definitely understand that's very important, but it seems like the focus is misaligned, where your focus is like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself to continue to allow this child near this parent, but I'm going to walk on eggshells so this other parent doesn't become aggressive. And it's like, that's not the way. You're enabling that behavior. Do you get what I'm saying? The thing should be like, let me move this child into safety, and if this other person that I'm interested in or whatever provides a safe environment, you know that allows us to have a healthy dynamic, because your child is your children are children, whatever. This is very specific, so if this doesn't apply, don't take this, or if this applies as a metaphor, take it that way. But it's like, our children see us and what we do. They learn from us, you know what I mean? So I said that to say, I feel like the priority should be to get this child away from this other dangerous person, this other dangerous parent, whoever that is, instead of, well, let me walk on eggshells in order to remain. It's like, in order to not inflame this other person and remain civil for the sake of the child. But like, what is that teaching the child? To remain in it's really coming through abusive, you guys, but to remain in abusive situations for the sake of what? The child, because it doesn't seem like the child is then safe. If you are having to walk on eggshells as an adult around this other parent, how do you think this child is feeling? And children are resilient. They're very good at hiding stuff, which is why it's important to know energy instead of taking stuff at face value. Because your child may be saying, no, I'm fine, everything's great. But their energy will tell you, like, this child has PTSD, or this child is an emotional wreck, or this child does not feel safe. This child is not letting their guard down. They're defensive, or maybe they're easily startled, or maybe they get emotional easily and they cry, or maybe they've become completely like silent and just not really interacting, the way the signs show up in various ways. Let me stop getting preachy. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not trying to talk at you. That was just a specific example that was coming through. And so if that is your situation, I hope that helped provide some kind of perspective. I do want to say that I respect the difficult. If this is a domestic abuse situation, I respect the difficulty of leaving that. You know what I mean? I understand that. So I'm not trying to be insensitive by saying like, oh, you just gotta whatever. I'm saying like, I know that's hard, but I would just like to throw that out there for your consideration of, are your actions really aligned with your intention in this situation? If your intention is to keep you and your child safe, is what you're doing by trying to manage this relationship or not enraging this, like, for what? For the sake of image? For the sake of what your friends might say? For the sake of what? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's that. All right. Let me wrap this up and stop talking at you. Sorry that this has gotten dark. Like I said, it's evening, so I'll add some more light tickets for the next pile. But thank you so much for being here, Group 1. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so pile 2. When I'm tapping into this energy, when I was shuffling and stuff, I felt like I felt kind of like sleepy, which it's evening time, but in this energy, I feel sleepy and like I want to cuddle. Like I feel like I just want to cuddle up and snuggle and love, which is so wild because, okay, so the song that you have is I know it's Ordinary People, John Legend. It says, I know I misbehaved and you've made your mistakes and we both still got room left to grow. And though love sometimes hurts, I still put you first and we'll make this thing work. But I think we should take it slow. And there's this energy. So your shadow attribute that you have is storyteller, right? And what it says here, it says making up tales that harm others. But honestly, what I'm getting from this is like it's the tales that you tell yourself, and the way who it harms really is you. And the way that it's expressing itself is no creativity and depression. But it's crazy because okay, so this is coming through as a romantic relationship, right? As it relates to who it harms, it's harming you, but it's also harming the other person because you're making up stories to yourself that's keeping you from coming together. And the way that this is coming through is like, whether this is you or your person, both of you guys are doing this and both of you guys feel this way. And the root of this issue, the reason why it's expressing itself, you're feeling depressed and you're lacking creativity, the root that you have here is peaceful, because it's like you guys find a sense of peace in each other, and you guys both feel like, okay, neither of us were perfect, and yeah, maybe we fucked this up, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that there isn't love there. I'm almost getting emotional. It's like, it doesn't mean that there isn't love there. And yes, we can still grow, but we can do it together. Like, I'm really just getting this feeling like, can we just talk about it? Can we just cuddle and like love and just be in each other's energy for a while? Because there's a sense that both of you guys are coming through kind of like sad and depressed, and both of you guys want the other to heal you, to provide a sense of safety and comfort and peace. You know, like you find your peace in the other person, but neither you guys are telling yourselves stories about the other person or the situation, in the sense that like maybe, and I'm not even getting that it's about like circumstances per se. So I'm not getting that it's stories or tales in the sense of like, oh, this person did this or this. It's not even that. It's more about like what you think the other person thinks of you. Like, well, this person, you know, doesn't like me, or they don't want to reach out, or they want nothing to do with me, or you know, they won't forgive me because I broke the heart, or whatever the situation is. It's those kind of stories that you tell yourselves, that if you guys would just have a conversation, you would. It's like if you guys would have a conversation, you would understand that, and then this defense that you guys both have your guards will be let down, and then you can move into this peace. And the thing is, both of you guys know this, because the card that you have that's the root of this is foresight, because I feel like both of you guys can see and know that you are each other's person, or like divine counterpart, you know what I mean? Like high soulmates, however you want to label it. Like you guys, it's like you guys I just heard a match made in heaven. Like you guys were made for each other type of energy. And you guys both know that, you guys both feel that way. But I don't know that either of you are saying that to each other. Like, you know that in your own mind, and then this other person knows that in their own mind. But then you guys tell yourselves like, oh, this other person doesn't want me. So neither of you guys make moves to each other in this energy. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is your shadow element, and now it's expressing itself, where I'm just getting someone that's like, ho-hum, like I don't really want to do anything, you know? Or if you have a creative idea and you might try to, you know, take action towards it, it's like it either requires a shit ton of effort, or it is like you might get started and then just like, never mind. You have to, maybe come back to it, or maybe you feel like very like negative, you know, when you're trying to, it feels like it's a lot of, like it's harder than it normally would be. It's almost like this other person really I just heard engages you. I heard engages and ignites. I think I'm hearing this. Is this a song? Hold on. Well, it's like, hold on. Wait. I feel like I'm faintly hearing the music of but I don't know what the song is. But I'm hearing "Ignite My Fire" or something like that. Or you? Well, now I'm hearing. You make me feel like a natural woman, woman. Um, so maybe that's how you feel, or that's how your person feels towards you. Um, like that's either how you feel or that's how you make your person feel, depending on, if you're a woman or not. Or whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so, I mean, honestly, this is like so very. So what's coming through is like, both of you guys are aware at this point. You guys might have gone through spiritual awakenings individually. Like you guys might have triggered that in each other, or one triggered the other, or something. Both of you guys have gone through a spiritual awakening. The way that it's coming through is like one person, okay, because the number 13 is standing out to me, and it's like one person had a spiritual awakening, and then like it's like the two is missing. If there's 1 and 3, okay, let me try to explain how I'm seeing it visually. Like it's like what is it called? Like a ripple effect. You know how when you see choreography and then there's an 8 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And then someone gets started on a dance move on 1, right? And then someone gets started on the dance move on 4. And then someone gets started on 1 again. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they keep going. Does that make sense the way that I'm explaining that? That's kind of how I'm getting it. Like one person got started on 1, and then there was no movement. Like they were going through their spiritual awakening, and then nothing was happening, like either for you or for the other person. And then 3 came, and now you're activated on your spiritual awakening. And then it's like the person number 1 is like on the next leg of the spiritual awakening or something like that. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I'm hearing log step. It's like that. So one person, like it's like might be, how can I say this? Like one of you guys, okay, what's coming through is like one of you guys had the realization. One is really connected to their spiritual side. And I'm saying 1 because it's hard to depict, because you guys feel the same way about each other. Separating your energy from like who is who in this situation is not very clear. But someone, it's up to you to decide whether this was you or your other person, in kind of like is an initiate. Like they started this and then they triggered yours in whatever way, and they're connected spiritually. And they have a sense, and maybe even before you realized it, that this was a divine connection. You have foresight here. I don't know if I said that, if I showed that to you. So maybe it was you. Maybe you're the person that is the spiritual initiate, because yeah, this is your energy. So sorry if you guys can hear the upstairs neighbors. If it gets really crazy, I'll probably pause this. That should scare the hell out of me just now, though, to be honest with you. Okay, so that's the other thing, is that I feel like there is a, again, okay, because remember how I was saying like you guys find safety in each other? There's this sense of, well, I want to say like unsafe, but not that there's a threat. It's just like energetically safe to be yourself, safe to let your guards down and just be. You guys find that in each other, whereas in maybe like your friend groups or in family dynamics, you feel disconnected, like the odd man out. Like you can't let your guard down completely and be your full self because of whatever reason. But you have this peace and this safety with this person. And so I feel like you might be experiencing maybe a lot of anxiety, or just kind of like you're nervous. It's the way that it feels is like your nervous system is kind of like in overdrive. You know what I mean? So it's exhausted, and when our nervous system is in overdrive, like random loud sounds that you weren't expecting might startle you easily, kind of like how I just experienced. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's an element where you might be experiencing that, but like both of you guys, right? So okay. Let me see if there's anything else that's coming through, because I feel like the shadow is very clear. Okay, the light attribute is ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. Um, so, um, this is definitely, I'm getting somebody here is very like psychically connected, spiritually connected, and that's their approach to life, is understanding the metaphors, seeing their self or their lesson in every situation, even if it's something that seemingly, and you know what, you might be realizing this recently. It depends on if you're the one or the three. If you started this or if you came in after. There's none is better than the other. I'm just take it how it applies. But somebody here has a perspective, and I feel like you guys are both now at this point. Someone got here first, where you guys you understand where in the past you guys might have looked at a situation like it is what it is, and what, like at face value, like what you see is what you get, where now you can see the lesson or the metaphor in a story. So if I were to give you an example about, birth or whatever, you can understand that now, as I'm not talking about literal birth. You have the awareness, the perception, that you can see how that applies to you in the sense of talking about a new life, a new adventure, giving new life to something, whether it's a new creative idea, because you have no creativity here. So whether it's a new creative idea, maybe it's a new expression of your emotions, or just, you know what I mean? It's like, because third eye is being highlighted here, it's like you can see. So now what I'm seeing is someone who's like, I close my eyes to see clearly. And I relate to that. Like for me, if I get confused and I'm like, wait a minute, I need to see this clearly. Like I will, on a subconscious level, close my eyes, or it's like I'll be looking around, and if you're looking at me, it looks like I'm looking at the environment, but I'm not. I'm looking through my third eye. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like one or both of you guys are there. Definitely one. Maybe it's the other person, or maybe it's you again. I can't quite tell. But I feel like the other person is the one that, like you might be the initiate, the person who got started on this journey first, or like you had your awakening before the other person and activated the other one. So that is, so the root, your shadow attribute is the stories, the tales that you tell yourself, that's like hurting you. It's not the truth. It's not what you feel. And the root of that is, oh, okay, I understand. So the root of this is that this is head versus heart. This is head versus heart, and not only is it that, but this is soul versus ego. So like your soul has the foresight. Your soul has this knowingness that you guys are, like I said before, a match made in heaven. That you guys are like perfect love matches, divine counterparts, equal counterweights, however you want to label it, twin flames, soulmates, like your person, however you call it, it does not matter, because it's labels at the end of the day. But it's like a soul recognition, where you know that this person is your counterpart. They are your peace, your safety. This is the person that's going to rock with you side by side for the rest of your life, and you guys will be able to continuously grow and move forward. This is not like a relationship that creates stagnant energy. This is not a karmic relationship where you're meant to learn lessons. You will learn lessons with each other, but it's going to be in a healthy way, not a karmic way, not in a way that there's a debt that you owe, in a way that it's like you guys can illuminate things in each other, but in a way that allows you to express your emotion, but not in a toxic way or a way that is triggering. You know, it's respect. You guys will have boundaries. You'll be able, you guys can communicate. If you don't understand, you can say, I don't understand, without fear of judgment, or I'm just like get someone bashing another person. Like I'm getting that this is something that you guys have both experienced in past relationships. Very, very karmic toxic dynamics, which were designed to help you step into your true self and recognize what you deserve, and then raise your vibration so you can align with this other person, right? And there's this knowingness that you're there. This is your other person. And this is going to be a healthy dynamic going forward. That's the root of this shadow, is that what you feel in your soul, there's no tangible evidence in the physical world. This is coming through like a no contact situation. Yeah, that's the root, is knowing that in your soul, but then your ego is what's being wounded because you're not seeing evidence of that. So then your shadow element is you start to make up these tales, and then it's expressed through depression and creativity of like, I'm hearing like, well, this person doesn't love me, and it's like, in your heart, in your soul, this person loves you, but maybe they haven't expressed that to you in words. Maybe they're not talking to you. Maybe you guys are blocked. Maybe you had an argument. Maybe you talk, but it's just like friendly, and it's that. It's like mind versus heart. Like your heart feels it, but your mind is talking you out of it because there's no sense. And so because your mind is you're allowing your ego and your mind to talk you out of it. You're making up these stories. And so it's like it's keeping you from taking action, keeping you guys from taking action towards each other and truly expressing yourself, which is then perpetuating this depression and this lack of creativity, when really you guys just want, I almost want to say like, I actually, like, what is the problem? Why aren't you guys together? Why aren't you guys reaching out? I mean, that's personal, and obviously it's going to be different for each people, because honestly, because truly, like, that's weird that not weird, there's no such thing as accidents. But the fact that I just saw that, okay, so now I'm looking at these cards for the first time, and I'm like, what's keeping you guys? And you have the Fool card, which is like what you can do to rectify the root of this issue. The Fool card, to take a leap of faith. I'm like, okay. I feel like, it's okay. So the way that this card is, like, the way that it's coming through, it's almost like you want to take a leap of faith towards something, right? Let's say this is you, right? Like you want to jump into, this is looking like a kiddie pool to me. And you want to jump into this kiddie pool, but then you're stopping yourself because you're like, oh, there's a crocodile. But then when you really like step back and look at the situation and like really connect with your intuition or whatever, it's like, you're like, okay, it's dark here. Does it make sense that there would be a crocodile in this kiddie pool? Like, or is this an illusion that a story that I'm telling myself? Like, that's how it's coming through. Like, I know this is the Fool card, but this moon is really standing out, and it's coming through kind of like illuminate the truth of the situation. Like, recognize what you're telling yourself versus what the truth is. Take the leap of faith. Okay, and then not only that, but it's like, okay, you have the Four of Swords and the Three of Swords, which is like reverse. And then you have the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. So you have Four of Swords, Three of Swords, and Two of Swords here, and then the Three of Pentacles. This is like come together. And okay, hold on, because there's a lot of messages. First of all, what it's like, I don't know if it's like reaffirming you. You guys are each other's sanctuary. You guys are each other's sanctuary. And you think that you're more wounded than this other person, and this other person thinks that they're more wounded than you are. Something about turtles is coming out, and it's really super significant. This little turtle is coming. This is my little amethyst baby. And this is really coming out to me like sea turtles. I'm also seeing the sea turtle in my third eye from that animal spirit deck, the wild unknown animal spirit deck. So something about turtles. Sea turtles. I don't know, that must be significant or something. But and then you have the Eight of Cups here at the bottom. This honestly feels so confusing to me because I just heard sea urchin. Because it feels like what's being explained here, it doesn't make sense to the root of the issue, because it's like the root of the issue. Oh, okay, because the root of the issue is like head versus heart, soul versus ego. So to rectify that, yeah, okay, so what it's saying is like, you guys, oh, that's what I was saying. You guys are each other's piece. So you think that this other person is more like together or okay than you are, and this other person thinks that you are more okay. The fact of the matter is, like, both of you guys are putting on, I just heard putting on faces, like on social media or wherever, however you guys like present yourself publicly. It's like this kind of connects me honestly to pile one. The messaging, there's a messaging that was coming through where I was saying like, you only see so much of a person. You don't see someone for who they are 24/7, even if you live with them. Why? Because people spend time in the bathroom, and someone might be like hardcore dancing in the bathroom, and maybe you don't know that. Or you guys separate to go to work or school or your friends or social outings or whatever. You're never with someone 24/7. So we only know what we see. And it's especially true if you guys are only seeing each other on social media. And if you're seeing each other on social media, what you're seeing is the presentation of what is a public image. You know what I mean? Like, how often are people truly vulnerable where they can record themselves having a complete mental breakdown and then post it? And then also, if that's the case, first of all, I don't know. I just feel like if you're having a mental breakdown, is that the first thing that you think to do? Is like, let me put this on social media. And then if so, I don't know. That's just a whole other thing. So my point in what I'm describing is like, I feel like you're looking at this person, and this person, like, you're looking at this person and this person's looking at you like, I just heard, oh, you're doing so great without me. I think both of you guys feel that way, but it's like behind the scenes, you guys are miserable AF without each other. Miserable AF. This Four of Swords is really, it's like both of you guys need to rest and heal from this broken heart, which oh my God, because your song, okay, you have, I know I misbehaved and you've made your mistakes and we both still got room left to grow. And though love sometimes hurts, I still put you first and we'll make this thing work. But I think we should take it slow. There's definitely a need to take it slow for both of you guys, but that's what's coming through so heavy with this Four of Swords and Three of Swords, that it's like you guys both need to rest and you guys both need to heal this broken heart. But the healing and the rest comes from the other person. And I'm not trying to make that sound codependent. Not that you guys can't do it yourself. It's just that you guys, there's so many stories that you and the other person are telling yourselves that's perpetuating this heartbreak and this unrest, that if you came together and communicated whatever questions are unanswered or whatever confusions, or it's like there could be a sense of knowing this. And I almost want to say without conversation, because you'll feel it energy in your soul. This feeling that you have, this knowingness will be confirmed instantly, even if words are not spoken at first. Eventually, I feel like words need to be spoken. You have a lot of Swords energy here. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's that breath of fresh air that both of you got. That's not what I'm trying to say. But maybe you guys both need a breath of fresh air. What I was trying to say is like, it's that deep breath that you guys both need, that deep release, that like that, like finally finally I can let out a breath. I can like relax. I'm just seeing someone like releasing the tension, relaxing their shoulders. And then, yes, because remember in the beginning I was saying like cuddling, that like I just need to be held and I want to hold you. And like, I just like wrapped up in a cocoon, like these little whatever these things are. Do you know what I mean? Like that's you guys. You just want to be tucked in, cozy, in your own little like bubble for a while. Because I'm okay, so now this 3 of Pentacles is standing out to me. Yeah, like like you guys just need to nest. You guys just need to nest for each other and reconnect. The way this is coming through is like reconnect to yourself through each other. And this is not to sound codependent because you have the ability to do that. It's just this situation is making it difficult because you guys are each other's remedy. And the way that it's coming through is like, you know that you are your own remedy, and it was no problem giving yourself your medicine before this person. But now that you know that there's a more potent medicine, or there's a medicine that heals you without you having to do it yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that I'm trying to be very careful with my language because I'm not trying to make it sound like it's codependent or toxic. It's not that. It's just this sense of like, I've been carrying this load myself this whole time that I meet this person who, has a wheelbarrow. Or is that what it's called? A wheelbarrow. A wheelbarrow, right? Yeah. Or a wagon, we'll just say, like a wagon that I can put this load in and drag it and carry it along. And this is the only person that I've ever met that has a wagon, and it's like they're offering to do this wagon and we can take turns pulling it, or whatever the situation is, where it's like, gosh, I can lug this load and I don't have to do all the work. Like both of you guys are that for each other. So I hope that is clear, the way that I describe that, because it's not coming through codependent or toxic or like I'm gonna lose my identity in the other person. This is rediscovering your identity in the other person. Because why? Because there's such a sense of safety that you can let your defense mechanisms go and just be and explore you. What are your joys? What are your passions? What new creative ideas do you want? What type? The connection between you guys, because you actually have like sacral chakra is blocked and you have no creativity. So when your sacral chakra is blocked and you feel like you're not feeling creative or as creative as you once were or whatever, it's usually connected also to like sensuality, sexuality, or emotional expression. So if there is an imbalance in one of those areas, it kind of impacts all of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not feeling creative, you're probably also not very sexually active, and maybe you're not even emotionally expressive, or maybe you're expressing way more emotions, but you're not sexually active, or it's that type of dynamic. So it's like this connection hits all threes. I'm hearing muse. Again, you guys are each other's like inspiration. You guys, this would be, I want to say this is so beautiful, but it would be really beautiful, but I don't know, like 7 of Pentacles. The Wheel of Fortune. Because I'm asking, like, why aren't you? What's keeping you from 8 of Cups, moving on? What's keeping you from moving on to better things? And there's this heavy contemplation of, like, this feels like waiting for something, fate to come in and change something. It's like, I'm getting like okay, hold on. Let me just try to figure out. It's like, I feel like you put in the work for something and now you're just kind of like, what I'm hearing now is a watch pot doesn't boil. So it feels like you put in the work for something and now you're just hovering over it, like watching it. Like, let's say you planted a seed in a garden and then like as soon as you have it tucked nicely and you watered or whatever, now you're sitting there and you're just watching the soil. And it's almost like you're waiting for this thing. I'm hearing like instant, like I think you're expecting like instant magic. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I don't know. This is the Seven of Pentacles though. I feel like you got to the Seven of Pentacles and you're waiting for the reward, but you haven't gone through like the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles in order to get to the Ten of Pentacles, which is the legacy, the abundance, the name, the family, generational wealth, like that type of thing. I feel like you're expecting that from the Seven of Pentacles, but it's like the Seven of Pentacles is meant to be the space where, and then the Queen of Wands is actually coming through. I feel like you're waiting to get some sort of like attention for, but you didn't complete the process. So the way that it's coming through is like, okay, it's coming through like as like art, like an art showing or something. Like you put together an art gallery and you have 10 paintings that you're advertising and marketing that you're going to sell or whatever, you know what I mean? And you do everything to get there, and then you like schedule your opening and you're waiting for people to compliment you on all 10 of the galleries, but everything is set up except for you don't have the paintings up, or you know what I mean? Like maybe you put the paintings up, but you didn't organize like the ticket sales. It was very confusing. So maybe not a lot of people showed up, or you didn't have like your drinks. Do you get what I'm saying? This is a metaphor for basically it's saying like you think that you're, okay, I'm going to be quite frank with you. I feel like there's honestly like something you're not doing and acknowledging. Maybe there's like an apology, or because it's the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles, maybe there's something that you have not worked on, or established like a sense of independence. I don't know how to describe this because I feel like I know that sounds really contradictory to what I was saying. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like maybe the way that it's coming through is like somebody here may owe another person an apology, or like a tangible, I just heard like totem of my, token of my affection. So I don't know, maybe you're going to gift this person someone or something, or someone's going to gift you or something, but it's like okay, this is how it's coming through. Tower moments. Remember I was talking about how you guys had this spiritual awakening? Maybe you guys triggered each other. Things were said, whatever situation happened. And in that you had your spiritual awakening. Now you have this self-awareness and you're like, wow, this is great. I have this perspective, and I want to go in with this Queen of Wands and get the attention for this spiritual awakening or whatever. But it's like, okay, but a part of the spiritual awakening and the awareness is integrating. So yeah, maybe you realize why you had these toxic traits and these habits, but have you done anything to rectify that for this other person, and vice versa? Do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I feel like you're like, you went away to do the work and then you came back and now you're like, you want everybody to do the praise. Okay, this is, I don't know why this is where it's coming through, because now it's coming through like AA, where the first step of AA is to make amends. So it's like you checked yourself into rehab and you went through the detox and whatever. And now you want to go back to these people and say like, look at me, I went through detox and I went through rehab. Like, give me the kudos, the praise, you know, give me the attention, the recognition. But you didn't do step one. You didn't make amends. You didn't go back to them and say, hey, I see how my lifestyle and my habits really impacted this dynamic, and I see how maybe there isn't trust here anymore, but I'd like to show you how I'm different. I want to take action to change this dynamic, to rebuild this, if you'll allow me, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Instead you're like, I did this. It's kind of coming through a little bit like childish in that way, where there's a excitement of like, I did the thing, and now you just want like everybody to shower you, but it's like, okay, you can't. You just disappeared, and now you came back and saying you're a changed person, and you want us to just like swoon all over you. But whoa, You know what I'm saying? So I hope that that example made sense. And again, I don't know if you're the person in this metaphor that like went to AA, or if it's your other person in this metaphor that went to AA, but or maybe it's both of you guys. I'm not really sure. But yeah. So okay, you also have the Two of Swords of like what you can do, which is weird because it's coming through honestly in reverse, like unblock. You you should unblock. But also what I'm getting is like this very mirrored image, recognizing or like understanding, knowing how do I want to say this? It's this, oh, okay. It's knowing and having the awareness that we all serve as mirrors to each other. So if I'm gonna use myself. If I feel triggered in a situation, I'm and I can feel myself about to emotionally react, I can understand. I have the awareness that we're all mirrors. So I need to pull away because I'm about to react as if you did something to me, because this is a sensitivity that you may or may not know about. And instead of me lashing out or whatever, I'm going to pull away and see myself in what you're showing me as a mirror, and see myself, the truth of who I am, figure out why that is, if I want to keep that, change that, whatever, how to navigate through that. And then I can come back to the situation and speak to it and recognize that and navigate that in a healthier, non-toxic, non-karmic way. Do you get what I mean? And it's so there's a need to do that for both of you guys, or like a recognition. And because I think before I was saying like you have the awareness, but now you have to also integrate, you know? So yeah. Um but that is what I have, group 2. So I hope that helped provide some sort of insight in your situation into this shadow attribute and the root of that, and gave you some sort of clarity to help you kind of move out of that and rectify that situation. If it did, please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Okay. Group 3. So I don't know if you watched the shuffle, but this pile really freaking confused me in the beginning, and I'm like, I think I got it now, but holy moly, I was almost like, I'm gonna be honest with you. At one point, I was coming through like, is this a legit like psychopath that? Okay, but that's not what is coming through, and I'm going to explain it to you. The reason why I said that is because your shadow attribute is tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. And the root of that, then what you have here is freedom. So the song that you have is, I don't tell you what to do, I don't tell you what to say, so just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. And I'm like, you want people to allow you to abuse animals and the environment and people, but and then you have materialistic and imaginative, which seems to me, it seems conflicting. And then at the base you have centered and grounded, right? I'm gonna pull this all together in a minute, and I'm like, what the heck? So that first came through, and then I'm like, okay, spirit was like, that's not it. And in the energy, I'm like, I don't know, I don't understand. like, I understand why that would be a shadow, but I'm not seeing that in the cards and I'm not feeling that in the energy. So I don't know how this would be associated to that, right? So the way that your pile is coming through, group 3, is that this is a perceived shadow. And what I mean by that is, like, this may be something that you are struggling to in your own mind, to talk yourself out of your experiences with people. Because you go your own way, people have led you to believe that you tend to abuse animals, people, and the environment in a selfish way, in a way that's like, oh, you only take what you want from people and then leave when it's served its purpose, right? And let me tell you, so the shadow aspect is, your shadow aspect is how you engage with that, allowing yourself to believe what other people tell you about this mistreatment. And at the root of that, it's an issue with control. Because what I'm getting is that you may have experienced in your life, probably from a parent. A lot of us are realizing that we've had a lot of narcissistic dynamics in our parent-child relationship, a lot of enmeshment, all that other stuff. So we're recognizing narcissistic behaviors and how that has impacted us. And in the narcissistic dynamic, the narcissist needs to maintain control, often through manipulation, often through portraying false image of the weaker person, the empath, because the empath is so sensitive and so giving and so, caring and all that stuff, usually to a point where it impacts them negatively. And it's easy for them to give when they're under the thumb of the narcissist, because the narcissist perpetuates this falsity that, oh, you abuse animals, people, and environment. They'll tell you, oh, you're doing this thing that's bad. Oh, you're doing this thing that's taking advantage. Oh, you're only concerned for materialistic, or you're not being realistic. You know what I mean? Like, the imaginative, the way that it's coming through, honestly, is like, if you were to try to say, well, point out to people, whoever this person, this outside influence is that's making you believe, or that has built you up to believe this about yourself, that you abuse animals, people, and the environment. The way that they have done that in the past is by, one, telling you what to do. Okay, so the song, let me read it all. It says, I don't tell you what to do. I don't tell you what to say. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young and I love to be young. I'm free and I love to be free. To live my life the way that I want, to say and do whatever I please. And in this, it's like, I'm not harming you or anybody. But when you try to point out, like, this thing that you're saying to me is untrue, when you try to point that out to this outside energy, then that's when they make you feel like you're imagining things. You know what I mean? And then, if you're familiar with the narcissistic terminology, you might have heard of the term flying monkey. So they'll get whoever is around them that they've already mastered having under their thumb, and they'll start to depict you in a light that doesn't make you look good. So now these other people are interacting with you in this shadow attribute, which is, oh, you abuse animals, people, environment, whatever. So you are made to believe that you're bad by this narcissist person. And then the flying monkeys and your interaction with them also further reiterates that, right? So because that has been your experience of such control and manipulation, and I'm seeing a puppeteer and a puppet master. Or are those the same thing? I'm seeing like a puppet master and like the marionette doll, or the puppet master and the puppet. Yeah, there we go. And you're the puppet. So not that you are the puppet, but like, this is the dynamic that you're used to from your past, right? You were the puppet, and then you had the puppet master who controlled your every move. And it was so hindering. So it's like, you have found your identity, and now there's this, I'm just seeing someone that's like, get off of me, like bucking elbows and breaking free of chains. Like, they're recognizing that they have allowed themselves to be controlled because they weren't in their power. They weren't in their freedom energy. They were believing and they were allowing themselves. And this is not to blame you, group 3. Let me please be clear, because it is a real dynamic. This is a legit, there's a reason why there's a whole term for like a narcissistic survivor, because it's a real ass trauma. So I am not placing blame or minimizing this situation at all. This can create lifelong impacts, right? So what I'm getting is that you're at a point of breaking free of this. And I'm seeing someone that's like, I'm saying the term fragile in quotes, and let me explain, please, group 3. When I say fragile, I mean fragile in the sense that anything, like if it's a flick of sand that's coming in your direction and it's ready to hit you, and that flick of sand looks like it's anything that's going to knock you out of your freedom, you're like, I'm seeing like someone getting ready to swat it away with a baseball bat, which seems dramatic, but it's so appropriate given your experience and the extent that people around you, maybe even specific person, I'm like family dynamics, whoever has taken in order to maintain control over you, but not just you, over your identity, who you believe yourself to be. Because I'm looking at this Selkie card here, and you see there's a person in this seal, right? And it's like, who am I? Am I a seal or am I a person? That's your energy, right? And so now that you've discovered, that you're one or the other or both or whatever, now that you have discovered on your own, based on your own experience with life, based on moving away from, working towards healing and moving away from the noise and the influence of whoever this outside external like narcissist energy is, you're able to connect more with your true self, right? And so in doing that, now you can decide. So the root of this shadow, let me go over here really quick, because the way that it's expressing is imaginative and materialistic. But I want to say like the root of this shadow, that's not how I'm trying to say it. What I'm trying to say is like this shadow aspect is, it's like a truth and an untruth. And by truth, I mean it's a truth in the sense that you have allowed yourself to believe this. So I'm getting like, you might talk yourself out of, I'm hearing invalidate yourself. You may invalidate yourself. And you may like look for tangible evidence to support whatever this new discovery is of yourself. But when it doesn't show up, then you fall back into believing this. So that's the truth of your shadow. The untruth is that that's not your shadow. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't actually abuse animals and people. What it is that you actually have learned to set boundaries. You actually have learned to speak up for yourself, to assert yourself, not to harm anyone. But the thing is, when you assert your own independence, oh my gosh, I channeled a quote earlier today, a couple hours ago, and it's so appropriate for this. I don't remember it off the top, but it was basically talking about the dynamics of power control, and you can kind of identify when someone is trying to dominate their self or assert their power over you because of their own insecurity. But it's giving me that, because what I'm getting from that is like, in moments where you speak up and you say, no, I'm not going to do that because that is not something I want to do, or that doesn't make sense, or this goes against my boundary or whatever, it's almost this response of like the audacity of this person, or like, who do you think you are? Or like you're in the wrong for asserting yourself. And now it's like, can you believe that this person talked to so-and-so like that? When really you're just like, I literally just, all I did was tell a truth, or I literally just communicated a boundary. No, I don't like it when you do this, or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's coming through almost like, can you believe that group 3 said to, their mom that they didn't like coming over to dinner on Sunday because it's so late and they have to get ready for the work week the next day? Can you believe they would do that to their mom? It's like, you're not a bad person for doing that. You have your own life, your own routine, your own tasks and responsibilities, and you are allowed to manage your schedule in a way that works for you. Because does your mom have to get up for you and get to work? Does your mom have to get up for you and get your kids ready for school? Does your mom have to pack lunches? Or does your mom have to go to whatever practice? Or does your mom have to wake up for you and go to the gym? Is your mom going to lose these pounds? Whatever it is in your life that you're trying to achieve at that moment, you're the person that has to manage that. So if anyone has a problem with a boundary that you put in place in order for you to navigate and maintain, what I'm getting is like maintain your health, physical, mental, and emotional, in the form of routines, in your own self-care, your own self-love, or whatever, then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing like, how dare they separate from the group. It's that, like, how dare you break off and become an individual. You know what I'm saying? There were themes of this in pile one as well, where it's like, how dare you break off and become an individual? Now they're painting you as a bad person because you're no longer a sheep. You're not just going with the crowd. You're figuring out who you are. I don't tell you what to do. I don't tell you what to say. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. That's your energy. I'm literally just asking you to be myself. That's your energy. You're like, I'm young. I love, you're like, I'm learning these things about myself, and I love these things about myself, and I'm going to express these things about myself. And I'm not asking you to do anything anything different except to respect my boundaries. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you can't, because you have a quote unquote the audacity to say respect my boundaries to these people, they have in the past, and maybe even try to do it now, but I'm just getting that you're so much more grounded in this freedom energy. But again, trauma is a real thing. So when we have believed these things about ourselves for so long, imagine the amount of time that this messaging was reiterated, especially if you're an adult and you've only recently come to learn about this narcissistic dynamic and freed yourself. That's, how old are you when you're an adult? Let's say like starting at 18, that's at minimum 18 years of this type of experience. If you've experienced this from birth, 18, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, this happens, 50s, 60s. That's that many years of your life that you've learned this about yourself. That's an untruth. So it's embedded in you. So you have to actively work every day to reprogram that. And I'm saying that to say, take it easy on yourself, keep going, don't give up, but don't beat yourself up if you fall back into moments where you kind of start to say like, am I a bad person? Like, I'm just, oh my gosh, I feel so emotional now. This kind of like makes me sad because I'm seeing someone that's like genuine, like the tiniest thing that someone might say. That, I don't know why the number 2 is standing out to me. I need to say that really quick. The number 2 is standing out to me. So I don't know if that's significant to somebody. I'm not getting any additional messages. Probably because I want to get back to what I was saying, which was that I'm seeing that it's coming through like your energy. You have a tendency to beat yourself up, and the second because I was saying that you invalidate yourself. The second something goes wrong in a dynamic, you're quick to say like, well, what did I do wrong, and kind of like go inward, which is a good thing. But if you're not careful, you can turn that into like you can kind of like tap back into that trauma of shame. You know what I mean? That I'm a bad person. I abuse animals, people, and the environment. Even though that's not true, I cannot be more clear. That's not true for you. That is what you have been groomed to believe about yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just getting someone that has like a lot of like patience and gentleness, or not gentleness. It's like there's a lot of patience and a lot of, I want to say like overstanding when it comes to someone misunderstanding you. I feel like you give people passes, maybe even more than they should have, because I feel like I think you interact with people that they are as pure-hearted and as you are, so, and this isn't, I'm not trying to put you on a pedestal. It's just who you are, and so it's like when someone's doing something wrong, because your energy is so, it just is innocent, because you literally are just out here trying to live your life and not dictate to people what they need to do, or the only thing you're asking of people is like, let me be myself, because you are so authentically in in who you are. It shows people where they are not, and that triggers them. But then they project that out onto you like you are in the wrong. And so you are taking that as like, well, maybe this person doesn't understand, and if I can just explain, and you know what I mean? Like you overstand people where you give them kind of the passes, and then, I don't know, like it's like you'll invalidate yourself. Where you will start looking for reasons why you were in the wrong. which may or may not even exist. Like why you were a bad person, you know, which may or may not even exist. So I'm seeing though that you like have been working on like what the way that it's coming through is like I don't know, it's just kind of a reminder, like affirmations. Like I'm not a bad person. Like I'm literally I feel like I'm hearing someone and seeing someone say to themselves like I'm just trying to be myself. That's it. Like I'm not asking anything of anybody more than I'm giving. I'm letting you be yourself, so let me be myself. Like that's how your energy is coming through. You're like, I just love this thing. I just heard dirt. Like I just love this dirt. Like maybe if you garden or something. Like why is that such a problem? I just heard someone like, I just want to eat my vegetables. Why is that such a problem? It's maybe it's metaphorical where it's like, I just like the simple life. Why is that so triggering to people? You know what I mean? Like, why is it so triggering to people? And so there's this recognition. So that's a part of like what you can do, to, I want to say like reaffirm this root, because this is not a root. This is a root you want to keep. This freedom, because this is the freedom of self. This is the center groundedness of knowing I don't tell you what to do. I don't tell you what to say. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. Just let me be myself. What about, I'm getting like, what about myself is so like dangerous to the world that like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm just out here living the simple life, playing in dirt and eating my vegetables. Why is that such a trigger to people? You know? Continue that. Like remember that, because that's going to help you to stay in this independence and to move forward and continue to break away from this toxic energy and this subconscious belief that you do abuse people. It's that when you can affirm to yourself and remind yourself and be real and centered and grounded in the fact that like your everyday activities, you're not like a violent criminal, or I mean, you know your history, but you get what I'm saying? Like you're just living a simple life. You're just doing you. And even if you are, it's like, and even everyone has a past. So we grow and change and evolve, and you are the you that you are right now. There is no other time than the present moment. I know we've heard that before, but like literally all there is right now. All there is right now. That's it. Because whatever happened 5 minutes ago, that's gone. That's gone. Yes, the impacts might be felt right now. So that's why we should handle what we feel right now in the moment instead of waiting. I don't know why this is coming through, but I'm hearing the quote that if it bothers you after 24 hours, address it within 48 hours. Maybe you need to hear that, but it's like that. We only have right now. Yes, we can hope for the future, but I can die this instant. Do you know what I'm saying? So like it's like, yes, there's a need to I'm seeing the Moonology card, balance spirituality with practicality, and the way that it's coming through is like, yes, we can have a plan, but also understand and know when to be movable and flexible, because we may say in 5 years I'm going to take this grand trip, but what if we die in 4 years and 6 months? But we had 3 opportunities in that 4 years and 6 months to take this grand trip, but because it didn't fall in our rigid plan, then we don't take it. I don't know why that message is coming through. So maybe you need to hear that. Something about a little more like fluidity, or I don't know. I feel like you're pretty good with that, honestly, because you're like stepping into yourself. But I feel like this is what you are illuminating to people, is like all we have is right now. Whether you say that or not, your energy, because of how you engage with your life, you engage with your life like right now. Right now, this is what I have. Right now, this is what I love to do. Right now, this is what excites me and makes me happy. Right now, you have the Lover's card. Like this is the choice. This is love. Choosing what chooses you, right? So it's like, whether that is an actual person or a passion or a hobby or a career or friendships or family dynamics or trips or, just literally living life. Because I'm getting you didn't get to live life in the past. Not your own life. You lived somebody else's life. Why? Because they were telling you what to do, what to say, how to act, who to be, what's your identity, what you like, what you don't like, what you eat, what you don't eat, where you're going to go, what time you can go there, who you can be with. And then that can change on a dime. Whoever this is can say, yes, you can do that. But the second you do something out of line, out of their approval, then now it's taken away. You know what I mean? So you didn't have the means to have your own identity. And now that you've broken away and healed, these stars are standing out to me on this card. Now that you've broken away and you're in healing and you've healed that, now you're like, I just keep hearing like, there's no time like the present. Like, there's no time like now. I just want to live life. Why is that so triggering for people? Because other people aren't living their own life. They're living life according to society and standards and what their families say in the generations before that and what's acceptable and blah, 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 blah. But that's not your issue. That's not your issue. You have Page of Swords here, the Emperor, Knight of Wands, the Lovers, and the Hermit card. So what you can do to really solidify this, continue to remain in your power. The Emperor has mastered all of the king's swords and all of the king's suits. And the king is the highest evolved of each suit. So that's the wands, which is our passion and our drive, our action. That's the swords, which is our intellect, our communication, our thought. That's the cups, which is our emotional intelligence, the way that we express that, see that, hear that, and also our intuition. And then also the pentacles, which is how we ground and center and how we engage with the physical realm. Are we present? Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of people associate pentacles with money, and yes, that is an aspect, but it's more than just that. It's what's tangible, what's in the right now, what's grounded, what's rooted. And you have the Emperor here. You've mastered all of those, right? So continue to be in your power. Continue to kind of move throughout those king suits. And I'm getting also like share that. So because you have the Page of Swords here, so there might be something that you do online that expresses this. Like maybe you post things. Because like, so for me, for example, I'll have meditative moments in quotes, and sometimes they apply to me, sometimes they don't. But I'll post them and share them because, you know, if it benefits someone, there you go. You know, if not, that's all good. But so there might be something that you do like that. Maybe you actually write something. Maybe you're a writer, or like maybe you do like, I'm getting like poetry or song. I'm getting like small excerpts of something. Maybe you write paragraphs, or maybe you write like poetry or songs or bars is what I just heard, like verses. I'm getting like small excerpts of writing. So, yeah, there's some way that you share whatever wisdom you've gained from this own healing, because you also have the Hermit card. So from this, I'm just getting that you're encouraged to like continue. It's like continue to explore yourself, really, is how this is coming through. Like explore yourself through exploring life. You know, like this thing is so huge and this person looks so tiny, and it's like there's awareness, but they're going, who knows what's beyond that. But they're going to go through it, and in discovering that, they're going to discover a part of their self. You know? And then you also have the Knight of Wands, which honestly, what I'm getting from this is like, be flirty, be fun, and, you know, be playful, be sensual, be, you know, I kind of want to say like, not be a player, because, you know, I want to be careful, because I know there's already your shadow attribute is tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. So group 3, you already have, that's already a thing in the back of your mind that you're fighting with. So I don't want to say be a player, because I can see how you can maybe assign that as abuse of people in your mind. And it's not saying that, it's just saying like, how can I describe this? It's okay to let your hair down and be yourself. Okay, because you have, I'm young and I love to be young. I'm free and I love to be free. To live, so it's that's how this is coming through, this Knight of Wands. Continue to be playful and free and young and vibrant, and it's okay. So the way that it's coming through is like, remember how I was saying before, you weren't living your own life, you were living someone else's. So this is like a new adventure for you, no matter what your age is at this point. Like you're living your own life for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Instead of under someone's thumb. I'm hearing guidance. I also heard guys, like disguise. So it's like, do that. That's what it's saying. Do that. Be playful. Be curious. Have that childlike curiosity. That's what it is. I just tasted a food, and I don't know what this is, because it tastes like a mixture of like hot sauce and cheese, like nachos maybe or something, or I don't know, like a I don't know, burrito, or I'm seeing like a enchilada. So I don't know. Are you maybe yes? Explore your senses, your sights, your sound, your touch, your taste, your pleasures, your pains, your all of the things. Sights, sound, touch, taste. What am I forgetting? Oh, sights, visuals. Yeah, because travel was, I don't know if I said that before, but like exploring. Yeah, exploring, like travel and stuff like that. So, yes, of course. And then you have the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck as your energy. So exactly. That's what it's saying. Your overall. Find your soul tribe. This is the card of soul tribe. Your soul tribe, like, meaning this isn't fake friendship. This is you being your authentic self and living your life, figuring out who you are, and then attracting the people that are in alignment with that. These are very similar themes to pile one. This is like coming through as like feminine energy, and pile one was coming through as masculine energy, where this is like, I just want to live my life. I just want to be, you know? And then the masculine energy was like, I'm trying to do something different, you know? So yeah, that is what I have for you, group 3. What a beautiful reading. I love that so much. I hope that helped. I really, truly hope that helped you feel secure in where you are in your journey, because this is tough, man. This is a tough to break out of, and you did it. You did it, and I know it probably, maybe you don't feel like that all the time. It probably feels like a struggle, and sometimes I feel like maybe you feel like, I don't know, this Lover card is standing out. So I think maybe sometimes you feel like, maybe you have a hard time in love, like trusting people and really letting your guard down and opening up and allowing, especially if this is like feminine energy, maybe allowing the masculine energy to be, I don't know, to be like, to take charge, or allowing don't let me speak for you, but maybe that's something that you've worked through. That card is standing out, like, okay. So anyways, all right, that's what I have, group 3. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that resonated, that helped you, and I hope to see you in a future pile. Bye.